Recession Rx, your prescription for getting through these tough times.
Hi, I'm Cathy Hanson, and this week we're talking with the state's top economist, getting his forecast for Nevada. But first up, Southern Nevada health officials are worried about the foreclosure crisis because there's a large number of abandoned pools, and that means a potential for spreading West Nile virus. More from Shannon Onstadt.
There could be up to 6,000 pools left untreated in the valley this year, which is not only an eyesore, but can also be a hotbed for West Nile virus. But if a pool is green, that doesn't mean it's not healthy.
Green swimming pools aren't necessarily a health hazard more than if they breed mosquitoes or if you were to fall in one, such as a child where they couldn't swim. They don't necessarily give off any type of fungi or anything to that effect that will make you sick. They're just more of an eyesore than they are anything else.
The Southern Nevada Health District has been using mosquito fish as an efficient and environmentally friendly way to control the problem and cut costs at the same time.
We can come back and harvest these fish and use them in more swimming pools that are in the same condition, allowing us to control mosquitoes while also increasing the fish population for the increase in green pools that we're going to have.
Green pools may not look great, and they're bound to breed some bugs, but the health district wants everyone to know that if this sign is on the gate, the pool is healthy. Unfortunately, some people still choose to take matters into their own hands.
As you can see, this is more appealing visually than a green swimming pool is. It's got a blue hue to it, makes it look like the water is healthy, when in fact there's an extreme concentration of hypochlorite in here that's actually can be harmful to the pool bottom, as well as killing off our mosquito fish that can control mosquitoes.
This blue glow will wear off, and this pool will be green again in 2 weeks. This is frustrating for the health district and deadly for the fish.
It's a waste of time, it's a waste of money, it's a waste of resources. This is why we post the fish signs, is so that people don't do this and people disregard it and they continue to do it.
After all this frustration, plus the risk of children getting into these pools and drowning, why not just drain them all?
The code enforcement agencies actually take care of the gate problems and keeping the children out of the swimming pools. The reason that we don't drain them is we don't have the resources to drain the projected 6,000 pools that we may see this year. And to add in the process of draining a swimming pool is extremely labor intensive, and we just don't have the manpower to do that. And also it puts us liable for, if the pool was to crack on a dry pool in the sunlight, we may be responsible for property damages. And
checking for the sign before calling in a complaint or dumping harmful chemicals can save hundreds of innocent fish and ensure that the abandoned pools in your neighborhood are taken care of.
Last year we had, at this time, 552 pools. Already we're up over 850 pools. We're 300 pools ahead of what we were. It's important to make sure that we're calling in valid green pool complaints because our time is limited, and when we get a complaint, we want to make sure it's valid.
Shannon Onstadt, Recession Rx.
And if you see a green pool that isn't being treated with mosquito fish, you can call the mosquito hotline and at 759-1220, and an inspector should be there within 72 hours. And joining us to talk about what some of those abandoned homes mean for our neighborhoods is Gail Burks, the president and CEO of the Nevada Fair Housing Center. Welcome.
Thank you.
You were mentioning earlier as we were talking that what needs to happen isn't happening in terms of banks and...
Right. The Neighborhood Stabilization Program is a program that was passed to allow local governments to receive funds to buy up abandoned properties, to allow consumers to purchase them, even if they're not a first-time home buyer, at a 15% discount, rehab them and get the neighborhood stabilized and move back in. And what we've run into is some lenders are saying we're not going to automatically do a 15% discount across the board. So while they may agree nationally in a national public setting, on the local level at the last meeting, it was not clear that all lenders had agreed to sign on and to do this. Fannie Mae's agreed to do it across the board. Freddie Mac's agreed to do it across the board. Wells Fargo has agreed to do it and participate. But we are still looking at negotiating home by home, piece by piece, and that may make it difficult to accomplish local community goals.
And you're saying too that consumers themselves have a role to play in this, correct? In this.
Yes, in terms of looking at what's available, in terms of trying to look at the opportunity now, even if you're not a first-time home buyer. But on the back end, if you're in foreclosure, when you're looking for a prescription, you got to treat all systems. Consumers play a major role in that system. You may not get the reduction that your neighbor received on their property. What occurred was not fair to consumers, but we can't change history. All we can do is move forward from here. So what we have to do is look at how can we, retrench, survive, and if that includes moving on, then we have to be able to do that.
How do people take that when you tell them that? When you say, I can't solve every problem. I'm not going to be able to save your home.
You get different reactions. Some people understand and they want to get help to move forward. Some get very angry. Some get depressed. Some storm out. So it runs the gamut. And what you look for, the ones that you can help, that want you to help them, that's sort of the best that you can do.
Okay, and I'm sure you are overwhelmed at this point with people.
We're very overwhelmed, and we have been for a long while, but like a lot of agencies in town, we do the best we can with what we have.
Okay, and one of the things you did do, though, is help put together this book, the Foreclosure Information Workbook, which is on our website, so that if people have questions about foreclosure, they can go to our website, look at the book, and hopefully get some answers.
Yeah, the Nevada Foreclosure Task Force put that together, and yes.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll be right back. We continue our look into the effects of abandoned homes on our neighborhoods. In this edition, we're going to see what the county is doing about it and who's paying for it.
What ends up happening if a home is unsecured, for example, the doors, windows broken, doors are open, etc., we can go in and we end up having to board it up just to ensure that the home isn't further destroyed and that the integrity of the home is maintained.
Houses like this one near Sunrise Mountain have kept Botello and his crews busy. Besides attracting vagrants, they often become drug dens for criminals or places for teenagers to hang out. But when the home becomes structurally dangerous, code enforcement hires contractors and demolishes them.
Actually, that house would be cheaper than most. I think it's $35,000 to $40,000. Some of the older homes that we end up demolishing are what really cost us money because they have asbestos. For example, we did a home that cost us about $3,800, $3,800 to demolish, but it cost us almost $40,000 on asbestos remediation removal.
As the number of foreclosures increase, so do the caseloads for code enforcement. Since July of last year, they've investigated more than 7,500 complaints. Everything from abandoned homes to unattended pools, trash and debris. So who's picking up the cost of the cleanup?
What ends up happening is Clark County will pay a contractor. And once we pay the contractor, we end up sending a bill to the owner, whoever they may be, whether it's the property owner, the bank, etc. And if the bill is not paid, we end up putting a lien. There's a special assessment that goes on the property so that Clark County gets their money back. In all these cases, it's not a consumptive use. Clark County gets their money.
In many parts of the city, neighbors are keeping up the yards at vacant homes, mowing the grass so people don't know the homes are empty. But Botello says you need to be careful.
Don't try to clean it up yourself. There's private property issues. You don't want to go over and alter someone's home, even though it's abandoned or maybe unoccupied. Call code enforcement so that we can look at the situation and take the necessary steps.
And you can call code enforcement at 455-4191 for help or go to our website. We have a link to their online complaint form.